coming.
Sorry, one more round of applause. I think it's in order. Oh my goodness. What an amazing film. I feel like every time I watch it, it just hits me on a deeper and deeper level. And there's so many aspects about this film. I mean, the intergenerational exploration of the relationships, the exploration of the Japanese American experience, and I can't help but, comment on the timeliness of it, because it seems like we're witnessing it happening again right now. Just the exploration of grief and the circle of life and death, and something that we're all going to have to encounter if we haven't already. Losing a parent. There's so many beautiful things about this film. And my prep notes, I was like, where do I even start? But let's just start with the simple stuff. How long, did this whole process take from beginning to end of making this film?
Yeah, so this we actually were working on this film for 7 years.
7 years.
We started around 2017, 2018. And then right around that time, 2019, right before COVID, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's. So initially, now we know they were early signs of Parkinson's, but that was one of the reasons why, I always wanted to make the film, but I felt at that time needed to do it now or never, because I noticed he was slowing down, the way he would talk, things like that. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And also 2 weeks after LA went into lockdown during the pandemic, my daughter was born. So because of that, we actually I didn't see my parents for about 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
So that was, definitely paused production for a little while.
Yeah, I can imagine. One of the things that struck me about this film was your dad's willingness and ability to be so honest and vulnerable about so much about his life and things that he wasn't necessarily proud of. When he talks about this, I guess, shame that he felt around his parents and wanting to be more white and associated. I feel like that's something that a lot of people of color, from immigrant families can relate to. Your dad, he just blew me away in that he was willing to share that and be so open about it. Do you think that's just kind of the way he was, as a person, or did that require some coaxing? Or?
Yeah, no, I think, I think my dad, like many men of color, especially of that generation, aren't very good at articulating their emotions. And I always joke, we either need substance or mental illness to be that vulnerable in front of each other. And I think, honestly, I do think, that was the case with my dad. I think one was, there was many layers, but I think one of it was that, depression is for him a big symptom of Parkinson's. So I do think that he would have these manic depressive states where that would actually come out where normally it wouldn't.
Interesting.
I think another thing also is, I think both of us are filmmakers, and so for me, I don't talk like that normally to him either. When we're in that room together, it was just for all the interviews. I interviewed him multiple times over these years, and it was just me and him in his office. There was no crew, so it was a very intimate setting. But I think I was sat down in the beginning mainly as a director, so I'd ask these questions that I would never normally ask. And I think him being a filmmaker, he knows that in order for a film to be good or engaging, it needs to be vulnerable and dynamic and deeper than surface level. So I think for that reason, he pushed himself to be a lot more honest and open. And I do think, it would go back and forth between filmmaker to filmmaker, director to subject, and then son and father. And I think, him dealing with we're both dealing with his mortality. I think we both also realized this was the opportunity for me to ask him all the questions before it was too late. But he also realized that this was his kind of chance to tell his son everything that he's always wanted to share with me or hand down with me, which I think a lot of the dark things, like the shame about my Ji-chan and stuff like that, those things he had never talked about and never told me about. But I think he felt it was necessary to tell me, but also to get it on tape, because I think he's said earlier, you know, his work included. He felt there's nothing, all the films and books that have been done on the Japanese American World War II experience hasn't hit this level of emotion, or, you know, no one, he said, no one's ever gotten it quite right of what it felt like, and I think that was one of his goals, was to try to articulate those emotions.
Yeah.